here at the Olympiad. I know people come from all around the world, and when they get here, they come to celebrate their passion for fitness and longevity and all those things that connect all of us. So it's really important to come back here. And the reason why we love this event is because Dr. Bob Goldman has created something that really speaks to what the Olympia is all about. And before I talk about that, I just want to say a few words about Dr. Bob Goldman, who, in his own way, oftentimes under the radar, has done so much for the global fitness industry. His work in the world of anti-aging is well documented by now, but it extends to other places that don't often get the credit that I think he deserves. The work that he does to create opportunities for men and women to pursue their love of fitness, and the way he mentors men and women of all ages, and he's really, really committed to that. So the fact that he's able to bring his International Sports Hall of Fame here to Olympian weekend under the watchful eye of Fairfax Acme and the hard work that he does, it really means a lot to us. So give it up to Dr. Goldman if you could.
He's a hero of mine. Starting martial arts at a young age, there are a few people who are just iconic in the martial arts world, and Bill Wallace, Superfoot Bill Wallace, is certainly that. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, kickboxer in history. He's considered by many to be one of the first American superstars in kickboxing. He was a Professional Karate Association's world full-contact champion and a middleweight kickboxing champion for 6 years, retired with an undefeated 23-0 record. He was elected to Black Belt Magazine's Hall of Fame in 1973 as Tournament Karate Fighter of the Year, and again in 1978 as Man of the Year. He is currently the International Ambassador for the PKA worldwide. He holds a 10th dan black belt, by the way, that's the highest that you can go, entitled Soke in Shuriken Karate, and has also studied wrestling and judo. He's the founder of the Superfoot system, which incorporates stretching methodology with Wallace's kickboxing style. As an actor, he was in a number of films: A Force of One with Chuck Norris, Kill Point, Ninja Turtle, The Protector, that was with Jackie Chan, and an array of other movies. He trained in wrestling during his high school years and then began the study of judo in 1966, but he got injured, so he had to switch from judo to karate. Between 1974 and 1980, became the Professional Karate Association's middleweight full-contact champion, retiring undefeated. He uses a remarkable, interesting style. I mean, he's almost hypnotic to watch how he is able to do and how fast he's able to move with his legs with multiple kicks at great speed. Bill Wallace was also the personal trainer and close friend to both Elvis Presley and John Belushi. In 1990, Bill Wallace, at 166 pounds, fought one last exhibition with kickboxing karate match with his friend Joe Louis, who, by the way, was a heavyweight at 198 pounds, so considerably heavier on pay-per-view. But he's taught karate, judo, wrestling, weightlifting at Memphis State University, and he also is a UFC commentator. Bill Wallace, one of the great legends in our martial arts world, and I waited years to be able to present this to my good friend, Bill Wallace. Everything's got a new story.
I'd like to tell you a little story. I was a freshman in high school. I weighed 89 pounds. I'm from Indiana, which is a basketball state. As a freshman, you got to be at least 6 feet tall to play the game. I was maybe 5'4", 5'5". So that took care of my athletic career as far as I was concerned. I'm walking down the hallway of my high school. I see these guys in a room rolling around on the floor. So I walk in and I say, "What are you guys doing?" And the coach stands up and says, "We're wrestling." I went, "Oh, you have guys my size doing this stuff?" He says, "Yeah." "How much do you weigh?" 89 pounds. He said, well, our lightest weight is 95 pounds. You can wrestle 95 pounds. So I said, okay, so I started wrestling that day. And felt very comfortable, felt very good about it. And I said, well, I'm going to screw up the guys I have to wrestle. So I weighed 89 pounds. When we weigh in for a class, when we weigh in for our meets, it's a winter sport, so everybody wearing jackets and coats and everything else. I would weigh in with all my clothes on. And everybody else, anybody that were trying to make weight before, you're spitting and trying to make weight, right? So I was in no trouble. Then all of a sudden I had a growth spurt. When I was a senior in high school, I weighed all of 135 pounds. I turned sideways and stuck out my tongue. I looked like a zipper. But anyway, so I became very good at wrestling, and I like to use my legs. So I was trying to scissor man. I would tie you in knots, put you in figure four, Roman candle, banana splits, and the guillotine. And like the MMA right now, it was a perfect combination in wrestling. And then my best friend in high school at the time said, hey, let's join the service and fly airplanes. Now this was 1963. Vietnam was just getting ready to happen. And I said, well, okay, but I don't want to go to Vietnam. He said, they're not going to go to Vietnam. So I said, okay, we'll join the service together. So we joined the Air Force with the content of the recruiter saying, you guys are going to fly airplanes. Never even saw one. So we go through basic training together. He gets stationed in someplace in Texas. I get stationed at Wordsmith Air Force Base, Michigan. So I'm walking around now. Anybody ever been in the service? Okay, you have two choices when you're in the service. You either find something to do in your off time, or go get drunk with your buddies. I don't drink. So that took care of that. So I walked across to the men's gym, and I said, excuse me, do they have a wrestling team here, a wrestling program? Well, I don't know what they're doing about it. A bunch of guys in the back are rolling around on the floor, throwing each other all over the place. I said, fine. So I walked back there, being a brash 17-year-old, and I said, excuse me, anybody in here wrestle? This guy stands up, got a black belt on, takes his little coat off, says, I'll wrestle with you. So he wrestled a little bit. I take him down a couple times, I put him on his back a couple times. He says, that's pretty good. I said, well, thank you, sir. He says, now put this little white coat on, a judo gi. So I put this little white coat on, and some of us are familiar with something called flying status. Well, yeah, I bounced off the floor, I bounced off the walls, I felt like I bounced off the ceilings. But anyway, I said, what is this called? He said, it's called judo. I said, wow, this is great. And besides that, if you're a wrestler, they have grappling. Much like the jiu-jitsu. Matter of fact, judo was taken from jiu-jitsu. So what happens is, we made the team, we competed at Wordsmith Air Force Base, or the 2nd Air Force, and we won the team championship 2 years in a row. Then I get stationed in Kadena Air Base in Okinawa. I'm going to continue my judo training, so I'm playing around over there. And all of a sudden I work out in November, I remember the date, I'm working out with a 185 pounder, I'm 145 maybe at the maximum. I commit for a throw called a Seotoshi, which is a body drop. He steps across my leg to counter me, so I step through his leg. There's a throw called Uchigari, which is the trip. He claps, and my knees sound like this. I lay in there and I said, ouch. And the guy said, oh my God. And I said, which way is it pointing? He says, you don't want to know. So I'm in the service, so the ambulance comes, takes me to the base hospital, and this is, I understand this is 1966. I'm laying there, and the doctor comes and says, I want to open you up and see what it looks like. There's no such thing back then as arthroscopic surgery. Back then it was called exploratory, if that means anything. So I said, well, what's the chance of being normal if you do that? He said, 50-50. I said, what chance of being normal if you don't do that? 50-50. Thanks, Doc, I'll see you. So they put a cast on it from my crotch all the way down to my ankle. And I'm all forward because I know my athletic career is gone. A guy comes up and says, hey, you don't do karate school downstairs? Let's go downtown and check it out. I said, okay. So I'm in a cast on. And we get to the school, walk in to watch the school. They're watching the training and so forth. Well, the black one comes up to me and says, oh, you do karate? I said, what? He said, you want to do karate? I said, 66, so they didn't know English that well. And my partner said, my friend says, do you want to do karate? And I said, yeah, that's fine, I'd like to do that. I said, you stand up. I said, I can't stand up, I got a bad knee. He said, no problem, you stand up. So I stand up. I said, you can hear me, right? He said, we do yoga again. Side kick. So he had another side kick. 45,000 of those things that night. Seemed like anyway. So I said, this is a lot of fun. So I go back to the barracks, do my job the next day. Then next night I come back. He said, oh, you're back. Very good, very good. Now we do Washington. What's the Washington? Roundhouse kick. So I did decide to do a roundhouse kick, about 45,000 times, right? A couple of months go by. I get out of the cast, I come back and start training. Start doing the techniques, psychic master, different punching combinations. And then the instructor says, oh, now we do kumite. Okay, another one of those Japanese terms. What's kumite? We fight. And I said, excuse me, now if you've ever taken a martial arts class, they say this punch will kill you, this punch will kill you, this punch will break your face, this punch will break bones, the kicks can kill you, right? I heard it too. And I said, sir, the United States government's going to get awfully upset at you if I die. Oh, no, Miss Swan. We practice king. What's king? Focus. You don't really try to kill, you control your punch. Oh, okay. And because of my wrestling background, my judo background, it felt very comfortable to me. So I'm sparring with one of the 7-degree black belts. I throw a side kick at him, miss him with the side kick. He starts to commit. I bring the heel around, catch him in the soul punches with the heel. He goes down. Now, very traditional schools in Okinawa. You stand here like this, ready for him to kill him. And he gets up and says, what'd you do? What'd you do? I said, what'd you do? I said, well, I threw a side kick at you. You got out of the way of it. So I just brought the heel around to keep you away from me. Watch again. The 3 kicks I've done since that time. Yokogeri, side kick. Owashigeri, roundhouse kick. And Urama-washigeri, a reverse roundhouse kick or a hook kick. And because of my knee, having to protect the knee, I had to fight sideways. So my stance was here, not this way, but here. So I had to protect the knee. So those 3 kicks came very easily. And the punching techniques, hard to throw a right hand because I'm left-handed, but the back fist hurricane came very easily. And the Haito became very easily too. So those were my techniques. Side kick, round kick, hook kick, back fist, and a ridge kick. We're all with the front side. So I come back to the United States. I find a short move school in San Bernardino, California, and I start training. And my instructor says, there's a karate tournament this February. You want to go to it? What's a karate tournament? Because there were none in Okinawa at the time. He said, well, you practice, you do your forms, you do weapons, you do fighting. I said, oh, sounds fun. So we go there, and I won. And I went, oh, this is kind of fun. But then I get out of the service. Now, most of you have fathers that want you to do something that they've done the rest of their life, right? My father wanted me to be a school teacher. That's why I went to college, to be a school teacher. But martial arts was fun. And I could do it. So I get out of the service. I go back to Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana. I'm in the men's gym working out. And the guy comes up and says, hey, you do martial arts? I said, yeah, I do martial arts, karate. Oh, there's a bunch of people getting together down in Indianapolis and watching come down and play with us. Okay, I get the directions using my Rand Valley road map because Google wasn't around. So I find the place, and the top guys in the Midwest were there. Glenn Keeney, Parker Shelton, Bob Bowles. You don't know those guys, but they're really, really big in that area. And I started sparring with them, felt really good. And then Glenn Keeney says, hey, there's a tournament in Lexington, Kentucky. Would you like to go? Sure. So we go to the tournament. I win the tournament. Now, Ball State at that time was not a really great sporting school at the time. Their football team was 2-12, really, really good in the tournament. It's the Korean tournament, which is a lot of techniques you're not allowed to do. I did it. But, so I lost. I took second place to a really, really, really good fighter, but I was upset. So I get back to Indiana and I'm mad. But at the time, there was a break between the eliminations and the finals. So my friend says, let's go out to university and check it out. So we're out to Memphis State University. And now, all of you that go to college, who's never at your office on a Saturday afternoon, the departmental head, right? Dr. Humphreys was in his office working. I said, fine. So we meet each other talking. He said, what are you going to do when you graduate? I said, I have no plans. He said, why don't you come here and do your graduate work? I said, sure. So I filled out the application, gave it to him. I get back on Wednesday and I get this letter that says, you've been accepted as a graduate assistant at Memphis State University. Now understand, I'm married at the time. My wife is getting ready to have a baby. Memphis State is going to pay me $150 a month to go to school. February, there's a large, probably the largest event on the U.S. Championships in Dallas, Texas. I fight the reigning champion, Skipper Mullins. I beat him, I win. Man, I was glad. I got to get back from Memphis State University. I'm teaching. I go to school at night, and all of a sudden, Elvis Presley wants it. He wants to meet me because he was at the tournament in Dallas, Texas. So everything goes there, and then in '74, when I graduate, I go up to Indiana, back to Indiana. I'm teaching up there. I get this call from Elvis Presley. He said, Bill? I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. He said, I want you to come back to Memphis. He's going to open up a place for training, and he wants me to teach you. I said, I'd love to. The best part about the whole thing is telling my parents I'm going to work for Elvis Presley. My mother's an Elvis fan. I call my parents and I said, Dad, put Mom on the phone. So my mother gets on the phone and says, Mom, Dad wants to be a school teacher, but I just took a job working for Elvis Presley. Mom, you there? My dad gets on the phone, he says, what happened? I said, I just told Mom I took a job working for Elvis Presley. That same night I get a call to do kickboxing in Germany and fight and defend the World Championship September 14th in Los Angeles. 1978, I do a movie with Chuck Norris, I won Jackie Chan in 1981. And so far, life has been a ball. It's been a blast. This is all I've done. They've always said, if you love what you're doing, you've never worked a day in your life. And I've never worked a day in my life. Thank you.
Great. I'd like to say a few words about our inductees. Bill, congratulations. You just gave the longest induction speech in our history. But the great thing about it is that at midnight last night, I was checking him into the hotel. He had spent 7 hours in a plane trying to get here from Florida. So again, I love you, but I'm glad we only induct you one time. Ryan, in May, I had never heard about you until one of our advisory board members, Bert Soren, had said, you need to invite this guy and induct this guy into the Hall of Fame. I said, who the hell is Ryan Krauser? But when I looked him up and I realized that he was a 3-time Olympic gold medalist, a 3-time recently world champion. He holds the world record in the shot put, both outdoors and indoors, and he will be going again for his 4th Olympic medal in the next Olympics. Oh wait, it's a box of tissues. I'm gonna see how far I make it. Since I've come to know you, I went into my phone this morning and struck out your name and just put in wonderful. So whenever you call me from now on, that's what's gonna pop up. I love you, and thank you so much for what you've given. Let's hear it for Nancy Lieberman. Lee, Look at the faces on the people around here, because I know you want to say it. I know you want to say it. Don't you want to say it? On the count of 3. Show me the money. Oh, that was terrible. You guys are so broke. 1, 2, 3. Show me the money. Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Steinberg. Angela, when your husband called me up and said, I'm feeling sick, Fairfax, I can't make it. What? Can't make it? Yeah, but I don't feel good. Okay, well, feel better, and dang. So I got the brilliant idea of calling his wife. She accepted. And I have to tell you a little story about your husband very quickly. The Oakland Raiders were the only team that my dad watched after 4 o'clock because he loved to see them beat the New York Jets. And Fred was an incredible player. My dad would always say, how the hell did he catch that pass? And he would yell at the screen, but he would clap whenever Fred was responsible for beating the Jets. So thank you so much, and tell him everyone got to see him through you and got shown the money. But maybe some of you may be thinking I've forgotten someone. I have not. I have not. Sid, when you won your 8th title, what did I say to you? I said you would be inducted. Is that correct? I promised you that you would be inducted. But little did you and I know that after you retired, you were looking for something that you haven't received. And that was respect. That was admiration. That was recognition of what you had done 8 consecutive times. Never, ever done before. But besides being an 8-time champion, you're an example of great parenting. You're an example of great parenting and what it means to have a wonderful family behind you. So many of us may know the term, I want to get my flowers. I want to get my flowers. I want to get my respect. And this moment for you, in this city, in this state, in this building, in this Olympia weekend, before your fellow inductees, before the people in this audience, before your family and friends, Sid, I've given you your flowers. Let's hear it. And none of us will be sitting out there or sitting there without you starting this great event. It's just an idea. But if it hadn't been for me being the gatekeeper, everyone would be a martial artist up here. True story. But I'd like to leave you all with the fact that this has been one of our best classes ever. I'm so happy that all of you have come out to see something very historic. And I'm so glad that we had an opportunity to honor them this weekend. And you all are going to the Hall of Fame. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, let's hear a little bit more. We're going to stand now for our group picture with Dr. Bob.